yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no!
Hell yes, we're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Well, hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is a wacky, whacked out, whacked up Wednesday. And I had to do that old intro we had back when I was in the fifth wheel in California and doing broadcasts outside at the old coffee table, smoking a cigar, drinking a scotch. Those were the good old days, huh? Those were the good old days. I'll tell you what, though, folks, the good old days aren't and don't have to be the last time we think good thoughts, right? The left is exposing themselves. They're being shown to be liars, and you and I have a job. We can't just sit by and idly watch and allow others to do the work. Those days are over. We all need to be extremely active. I mean, we hear this story that, 3% fought in the American Revolution and 20% supported it. Shit.
Well, that didn't take long. John says if that problem came back, he was going to log out and reboot and come right back. So here he is.
Here I am. I'm getting a lot of interference on this end. Anyways, folks, it is, we had 20% of the country fighting the 1776 revolution. Well, times are different. It's going to take a bigger percentage of us. Now, 100% benefited with freedom, liberty, prosperity, happiness, private property rights, personal rights, traveling rights, monetary rights. But all of a sudden, well, not really all of a sudden at all, over the last 150 plus years, the globalists, and they are globalists and always have been, or if you want to say this, those who think they're above the law have been fighting to destroy this country. And there are idiots everywhere pushing for this. But what's funny is, well, Twinkle Toes Timmy, his family has decided they're going to come out, not come out of the closet, not cut their dicks off. They decided to come out as Trump supporters. That's right. They made a big giant poster, Walls is for Trump, wearing shirts that say Walls is for Trump. And Tim Walz's family has basically flipped him the bird and said, nope, we're endorsing Trump. And this is proof, folks, that Tampon Timmy is a retarded black sheep and that the hilariousness, the satire is important, right? To show humor, but also to get in this fight, right? Now, Tim Walz's family, they could have been quiet. They could have been like, hey, if Timmy gets to be the vice president, we'll benefit financially and we'll get special favors. No, it's not about special favors or government privileges, because that's what government's special favors are, privileges. And they can be taken away. Well, I don't operate by privilege. I operate by right. And I'll choose that freedom and the life I have over the promise of privileges coming from the likes of Camel Toes Harris, whose accent changes depending on what city she is in. And Peter Doocy grilled the lying sack of shit Karine Jean-Pierre today. That's right, the one with the little head full of black curly fries, right? The little lesbian, un-American black press secretary. And she didn't have an answer. She couldn't answer because all Democrats do is lie. And rhino Republicans are no better. Folks, by the way, take a look at the Prepared Mind tent. This is not some military tent. This is just an example of what you can build with a little bit of lumber and a bunch of tarps. You got it, folks. You may be building command centers all over the place to protect yourselves. It's going to get crazy. I really believe it's going to get crazy. Now, speaking of crazy, Senator Roger Marshall said, we have an election interference problem, right? Election interference. He wants to investigate the Kamala Biden regime because their jobs numbers coming from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, an incredible, massive lie aimed at fooling the American people into believing that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, their policies are positive or good. I also believe that the pollsters, people who are taking polls, oversampling. What do we got here?
Hey, John, in case you didn't see it, your camera's frozen. There was some ticking coming through in the background, but I don't know if you're talking at the moment.
Well, let's go with that. Oh, man, I'm back. Yes. It feels to me like election interference here in the Prepared Mind studio, folks. There's absolutely no reason why the camera should be doing this. I really have a feeling that we're getting some sort of hacking going on with our provider. There's absolutely no reason why this should be happening. Just incredible. Okay, well, let us continue, shall we? I tell you. All right. Polling companies, pollsters are lying. They go out and they oversample people. Let's just say they interview 10,000 people. They should be doing that, what? 50% Republican, 50% Democrat, 45% Republican, 45% Democrat, 10% independent, whatever it is, but they're oversampling Democrats with the express purpose of lying and trying to show Kamala Harris having better numbers. They're lies. Is it or is it not election interference? Because it's released through the mainstream media in an effort to lie to us, the people, about what's happening, to persuade voters. And what about Zuckerberg's interference? Remember that? Remember that little shit stain, Zark Zuckerberg? Interfered in the 2020 elections, admitted it. And why hasn't he been arrested? Call your senator, call your congressman. We need more light shown on this. I do not believe that congressmen and senators will arrest anyone. I don't think the Department of Justice will prosecute anyone. But the more action we have on our side, we get momentum. We need that. I need you to call, write, type, email, smoke signal, carrier pigeon. I don't care what. Let your elected officials know you see what's going on and you want them to do something about it. Make so much noise, they have no choice but to look into this. And I believe it very much is you, me, and others making these efforts, which is causing these investigations like Senator Roger Marshall to look into election interference from the Kamala Harris Biden regime and look into pollsters. It's, folks, we've got a hell of a fight in front of us. We really do. And understand the conspiracy to destroy America is bigger than you, me. It's even bigger than Trump. It is all they are about. And it is up to you and me to get Trump elected to try and fight these people. Because, well, you can't elect Kamala to fight them. You elect Kamala, she'll come after us even harder and faster and nastier. So we don't have any choice at this point. No choice. The conspiracy has been revealed, folks. Most of the agents, most of the Secret Service agents who were assigned to protect Trump when he was, shot through the head, the ear, they were Homeland Security. They were not Secret Service. They were Homeland Security personnel. And you know what they got for Secret Service protection training? 2 hours of an online webinar. Would you trust your own life to a 2-hour online webinar for security? This shows that the Secret Service and the FBI are complicit. Who else has the authority to make these decisions? And it nearly cost Trump his life. What about the other 5 agents that were suspended in the FBI for their, well, it must be an overly obvious participation in this conspiracy? How come that is no longer in the news? You see, the government, the United States government, the Washington, D.C., U.S. corporate government from the District of Columbia is conspiring. All its agencies are conspiring to destroy this country and shut us down. Period. If it isn't obvious now to you, it never will be obvious to you. The FBI, the Secret Service, the Department of Homeland Security leaving the southern border open. Give me your opinion. Put it up here and get your thoughts down below because you're going to get questions here. You have the chance to do some questions in about 15 minutes. Who else in Washington is trying to destroy our rights? The IRS, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, wanting to take your guns. Everything is a gun, so they think they have the right to regulate and control it and control you, and they don't. The conspiracy is being revealed to the world. It is, folks, Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia is not a peaceful organization. It is not even mostly peaceful. It is an evil organization. And it's not just a swamp, right? Trump said he was going to drain the swamp, right? Well, he didn't drain it, but he lowered the water enough that we can see all the slime bags there. Literally, folks. Now get this. You can fight back. You are not weak. You are not weak. No one is weak. We can't change things individually, but we can put pressure, work together, and wake people up. Let me give you an example of how this is playing out. In Florida, that's right, my home state, Florida, the Attorney General of Florida is now suing the Kamala Harris, sleepy Joe Biden administration. Why? Because they've released criminal, illegal aliens into Florida and other states. It is time to fight, fight, fight. Fight. Don't give up. Don't quit. Don't leave it to the 20%. Don't leave it to the 3%. Don't leave it to other people. Stop that. We all need to stop relying on other people. Do all that you can, folks. Trust me. Now, someone like this guy, you've heard of him before, and I'm not a huge fan of him, but he did something good, so I will commend him. Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, I think he's a billionaire, and he's taken some action. He's speaking. He's using his voice. He's doing what he can, and that's good. Right? He went on to CNN and basically shut down the lying sack of shit anchor. Well, why? Because the anchor or the news person was lying in an effort to make Kamala Harris look good. To me, that is interfering with the election. The mainstream media always takes the side of the Democrats, period. It can be demonstrated in court. Anybody can watch, let's just say, 3 hours of news clips on national politics, and you will see probably 95% or greater anti-Trump coverage. So Vivek, right, drops a couple of truth bombs, exposes Harris's communist agenda, and we need that. See, he's got access to be on CNN. Good. Of course, they'll shut it down as quick as they'll shut this channel down if they have a chance. But that's what we need to be doing. We have a fight here in our country, folks, that is unbelievable. This is a fight that will go down in history. Do you want to be a part of history? Do you want to be a participant or just another fucking observer? Jaffo. You just want to be another fucking observer watching everything? Or are you going to lie and tell everyone, I stood up and did something? Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a lot of those, folks. But I know that here on the Prepared Mind channel, through the Prepared Mind networks, we're actually taking steps. Please keep it up. And the left is going to continue to do what they do. They are not quitting. They are not quitting, folks. Right? They'll continue to lie and fight. So we have to keep fighting back. In fact, the Kamala Harris regime is now accusing Russia of election interference in 2024. Right? Using the Kremlin media system. Well, this is nothing but Democrat hypocrisy. That's it. Right? The United States government, aka the Kamala Harris government, uses the United States mainstream media. And it uses DC bureaucracies like the Bureau of Labor Statistics and all of the Kamala sycophant liars as election interference. There needs to be some serious changes, folks. Some serious fucking changes. It's coming. Are you prepared? Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, right? Medicine, means of self-defense. Because the government's going to fight us, folks. They're not on your side. Power goes out, water stops flowing, fuel stops coming, store shelves are empty. Guess what? You're on your own. You're on your own. The government doesn't care about you or me. You want another example? All right, the cheat is on. A lot of people think that, well, the Republicans are doing a lot. They're getting out campaign workers. They're getting out election observers. They're going to monitor across the country. Patriots are joining forces with sheriff's offices to station people and observe and film and record and document everyone who pulls up to a drop box. So you can see how many ballots they're dropping and what their license plate number is. And if the sheriffs or other law enforcement are there and they've covered their license plate, that is going to get them in trouble. And someone should, that means they're going to do something illegal, doesn't it? They're trying to hide their identity so they can break the law. They need more than a ticket. Anyways, folks, the cheat is going to happen. In Wisconsin, which is a very corrupt state, by the way, the Election Legislative Committee has told the Department of Transportation, the DMV, that you have an ultimatum. You will provide all non-U.S. citizens, in other words, all illegal immigrants who have been given driver's licenses, we want their data so that we know if they are not trying to vote, because it is illegal for them to vote. But get this, folks, the Democrat machine that you and I are fighting, right? How many bureaucrats are there? Bureaucracies, government agencies, what is that? 10% of the country works for the government, maybe 15 now. It is them versus us. Democrats are so connected through their network of cheating that even the Department of Transportation in Wisconsin has been defying the elections committee, refusing their subpoenas, disobeying mandates, because even the Department of Transportation wants to destroy our country. See, it's not just Washington, D.C. It is every submissive government bureaucracy from the top all the way down. And they really do want to destroy us, folks, all of us. Don't think that they don't, because that would be a big mistake. It really would. Don't make the same mistake and believe someone else will do it. Don't make that mistake, folks. Now, I want you to take a wild guess. Let's see, a 28-year-old super athlete, former Longhorn. Everyone knows who the Texas Longhorns are. A former Longhorn volleyball player. That's right, super athlete. You've seen those girls jumping and dodging and diving and smacking, right? They're athletes, super athletes. Age 28. Mrs. Practice. Found dead. Are you surprised? I don't think you should be surprised. I think you should be disgusted. This is going to continue, folks, and we will continue to talk about it. And this is also important, folks. A U.S. service member, and you're thinking Turkey, aren't you? That's right. Well, we had one service member, and the news couldn't get their shit straight, whether it was a naval personnel or a Marine, harassed on the streets of Turkey, out in public. Doesn't help that he was as white as I am, shaved, looking military, but harassed, harangued, assaulted, detained, beat on, and then hooded. Well, down in Venezuela, another U.S. service member, he was warned. People are warned, don't go to Venezuela. Don't go there. It is not a free country. If the government detains you for any reason, they've held people up to 5 years. They're almost as bad as Washington, D.C. They've held people for almost 4 years. Hundreds. Venezuela, a very corrupt country. Washington, D.C., a very corrupt state. It is an independent state from the rest of the country. It is not one of the 50 states, but it is, folks, a corporate state. It's corrupt. Venezuela's corrupt. And the Venezuelans, by the way, who are taking over apartment complexes, taking over neighborhoods, you know what they're doing? They're going door to door, banging on the door, and demanding people pay them money, rent. They don't own the property. They don't run the apartment. They're not the administrators. They're not property management, but they're there with a gun, putting it in people's faces and demanding rent just for living in an apartment. So the question is, folks, if you had someone knock on your door and you look through the people and there's someone standing there with a gun, someone you don't recognize, someone who doesn't look American, someone who doesn't sound like American, opens the door, right? You're going to open the door and let them stick a gun up your nose? Or are you going to start defending yourself? That's the question a lot of Americans are starting to ask. Imagine living 10 miles from where that's going on in Aurora, Colorado, or Chicago, Illinois. I said Illinois intentionally. Imagine if it's 10 miles from you. Would you care? Would you think you're at risk? Well, how about 5 miles? Getting closer to home. How about just around the corner, just down the street, that apartment building just down the street? If Venezuelans are going door to door demanding rent, How long before they decide to start walking down the street and knocking on everyone's doors? It won't take long, will it? Let me ask you another question. How long do you think it'll take with Americans shooting these bastards and dropping them on their front porches in a pile of blood? How long will it take them to realize that doesn't fly in America? Well, I'm not telling anyone to do anything illegal or harmful or dangerous, nor am I glamorizing violence. I'm saying you either are a victim or you're a patriot. All the Democrats want to play victim, do they not? Whether they're a minority or whether they're some kind of fruitcake or they're just too poor and they can't handle it and they need welfare the rest of their lives, not as a hand up, not as a helping hand until they get moving, but the rest of their fucking lives, they're a victim. I know somebody, folks, a disgusting fat sack of shit, whose goal was to be on disability. Can you believe that? Can you imagine having that as your fucking goal? To be on disability and collect $3,500 a month from the government so you don't have to work. That's the goal. There are sacks of shit out there just like that, living off of your money. The same, folks, that's the same as one of these other people showing up, one of these Venezuelans or Colombians or Middle Easterners or Far Easterners. If they show up at your door and stick a gun in your face, they're the same as the IRS. It is theft. Whether or not it's government authorized or gang authorized, it's theft. And they all use guns. You'll pay your taxes. Now imagine if the Venezuelans sent around an unarmed person. Hey man, where's your rent, huh? You need to give us $500 this week. That's the rent. I don't have a gun, man. Just give me the money or there's going to be trouble. You don't give him money, someone shows up with a gun. That's what the U.S. government does. That's what the state government does. That's what the city and county governments do. You don't pay your rent, they send you a bill in the mail. Hey, man, pay your taxes. Hey, man, pay your taxes. You don't pay them, there's someone at your door with a gun. You're going to pay your taxes. They cause you to get fired. They steal your bank account. They're all thieves, folks. That is not what America is supposed to be about. Rent is also a prison term for protection. Yes, it is. Protection money. Gangs, or rather organized crime, if you will, the mafia, you pay them protection money, right? Hey, rent, protection money, insurance, to make sure nobody sticks a gun in your face, you pay them insurance. Don't we do that already with the government? Aren't the police supposed to protect us? Isn't that some sort of social insurance program? The police, the sheriff's department? Funny. You're on your own, folks. You and me, we're on our own. Truly. You've got to be someone important like, I don't know, fat ass Fannie Willis. That's right. Fat Fannie, fat ass, Fannie, fat ass, Fannie Willis. Remember how she said, it's Fannie. Sorry, bitch. I don't care what you say your name is. I'm going to mispronounce it, whether you like it or not. Fat ass Fannie Willis. She's powerful. Her daughter was getting arrested. So she showed up while her daughter was being arrested. Do you think she was interfering with police duty? Do you think she was using her political power to try and influence the situation? Oh, by the way, she showed up with her boy toy. Nathan Wade, that's right, the guy she said she ended her relationship with. She showed up and was filmed with him trying to get her daughter out of trouble. Folks, Democrats, liars, using authority to interfere with the arrest of criminal actions. That is the Democrat Party, is it not? It truly is. And speaking of Democrats and destruction, I want to, oh, you piece of shit. Piece of shit, I tell you. Another Democrat killer strikes. Prove me wrong. Whacked out, left-wing, retarded, mentally deranged, psychologically ruined Democrat has killed people at a Georgia school. There's a Georgia school shooting today. 4 people killed. Approximately 30 more have been injured. A school shooter, folks. 14 years old? 14-year-old. How much hate could a 14-year-old have that they need to go to school and shoot? And they either injured or killed approximately 35 people. 14-year-old. Was that person a tranny, a transsexual, a transgender? Was that person an LGBTQIA plus lover? What was the motivation of this shooter, this killer, this mass murderer? Dollars to donuts, folks. I'm putting money on it was a Democrat, left-wing, radical sack of shit. Because people who are in their right mind and respect other people's rights, they don't tend to be mass murderers. It is people who don't care about other people, that want to victimize other people. Unbelievable, folks. Do we have any new information on that? I'd like to hear about it. You know, I've been talking for, well, between that and fixing the internet fuck-ups, I have incredible internet speed here. There's no reason for my line to be going down. There's no storm. Alligators aren't chewing through the fucking cables. There's no reason for me to be losing reception. Anyways, I want your comments about this shooter in the comment section. Uman's on site as the moderator with the big blue wrench, and let's talk about what is on your mind, folks. What is on your mind? I need to hear your thoughts, information, updates, etc. Let's get to it in the inner circle. All righty, we've got apparently a lot to talk about, obviously. And Uman is in charge. So, Mr. Uman, using all of your authority. Badass Diving Frog says, John, please tell me your bunker has more than one outlet and not like Quonset huts at Bridgeport where everyone fought over the one outlet. Oh, no, I got 2 outlets. Yeah, it's kind of like an airport. Isn't it amazing? Airports. I've been to a few. We've had the internet for 30 years. Well, public internet for 30 years. We've had USB ports for those same 30 years. Why is it that airports haven't figured out they need to have electrical plugs everywhere for people to charge their electronic devices so they can get on the internet? Same with USB ports. Why haven't they figured it out? The same reason, right? Nope. Hell, even on my job sites, I have multiple extension cords with splitters, and it's crazy business, folks. Crazy business. So yes, I do have more than one outlet, Mr. Diving Frog, but that doesn't change the fact that the internet, I'm not the bottleneck here, not in the Prepared Mind combat tent, the non-mobile command center. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Frog. Uman, where do we want to roll next? Uman says, the only update on the Georgia mass murder school shooting I see is that Camel Toes is dancing on the graves already for gun control. You know who's actually being questioned very heavily right now? The American Psychiatric Association. Not the American Psychology Association, the American Psychiatric Association. You want to know why? Because tens of billions of dollars, not millions, but billions of dollars have been funneled into mental health care over the last 20 years. And psychiatrists, not psychologists, but psychiatrists, what have they done to fix the problem? They have prescribed drugs. Psychologists don't, but psychiatrists prescribe drugs, antidepressants, ADHD medicine, right? And those help millions of people, folks, get over a hump, a bad spell, help them out. I get it. A lot of people benefit from it. But we keep having these scenarios pop up where a mass murderer has been watched and treated for years and years. But what about our national mental health? You got more and more kids becoming mass murderers. And these same kids apparently have psychological problems. They go see a psychiatrist. They say, you know what you should do? You should cut your tits off. Or if you're a boy, cut your dick off. Or if you're a boy, say you're a girl and that you have a feminine dick. Oh, yeah, they're trying to push that, folks, that not dating transgenders is bigotry because they say they're a girl, therefore their penis is a girl part. That's how fucking stupid these people are. Mental illness goes all the way to the top, folks. That's right, Rachel Levine, the obese man who thinks he's a woman, is in charge of health and human services. Mental health and physical health. Are you fucking kidding me? No, it's not a joke anymore, folks. And Kamala Harris is there dancing on the graves of dead people, using it as a political stunt. The problem is psychological. The problem is left-wing mentality. And the problem for you and me as patriots, Americans, is that they're out there. They're causing trouble. They're trying to destroy this country. They're trying to ruin your lives. And you are at risk of serious, serious violence. I hope you are prepared to deal with the problems, folks. I really do. I've been shot before. I've been shot at plenty. It hurts. You don't want to be shot. You don't even be hit with a ricochet. You don't want to be stabbed. It hurts. Now, I've got some updates that just came through. The high school received threats, phone calls prior to the shooting. 4 dead. What was done? Nothing. The school did absolutely nothing. Breaking news. The shooter has been identified. Will face murder charges, will be tried as an adult. That's pretty quick. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, that will not look into election fraud, by the way, is giving updates on the shooting. Now, 10:30 a.m., the school shooting started, blah, blah, blah. They've identified the shooter as Colt Gray, a student at the school. He surrendered to police when confronted. Right? So he injures 30 or more people, kills 4, and he just surrenders. Okay, go ahead and arrest me. Two students, 2 teachers, dead. Because Colt Gray wanted to bring his politics to school. How do you like that shit, folks? It's not going to end anytime soon. All right, Mr. Uman, what else do we want to talk about out there? What do you guys have on your mind? Chin Music says, John, you think the Venezuelan gangs know gay Jared will never send out a guard? John, they are coming through the migrant centers 4 miles from my fucking house. Chin, man, I can't tell you enough. I'd like you to get the fuck out of there. Protect yourself, protect your family. Marines call it, a fighting retreat. I left California for a lot less reason than you have, but you're staying there. You're standing in there. You've been there for a long time now, letting us know what is going on in and around and near Eagle Pass, Texas. No. Gay Jared. The Venezuelan gangs don't give a shit about government. They don't. They're not afraid until they have to be afraid. You bet as soon as, let's just say, a militia force or the National Guard showed up or the State Guard, they would hide their weapons. No hable, man. No hable. It wasn't me. Hey, I didn't do nothing, man. Yeah, I'm just a political migrant from Venezuela. Yeah, I just come to America to get a good job and work real hard. Okay, policeman, you go look over there. That's the bullshit. The games they'll play. That's the bullshit in the games they'll play. Stupid, right? That's not how it needs to be played, folks. That's not how it's played in Venezuela. They understand violence in Venezuela the same way they understand violence in Morocco or Palestine or Saudi Arabia or Yemen. When you fuck up and those tyrannical regimes don't like it, they'll grab you and they'll end your shit right now. That's what they understand. They understand violence because that's how they operate, do they not? Live by the sword, die by the sword. I live by hard work, lawful behavior. I'm not a criminal. So shouldn't I be able to live lawfully and die lawfully? Well, no, not when the government that we have here in America wants us dead, and it will kill us if it gets a chance. It's promised it. It's threatened it, right? Remember Biden telling us how he's got nukes and F-16s? Fuck. Yeah, you better have a good AR-14. Remember, Joe? These people are morons, folks, but they're dangerous morons. All right, let's do this. Thank you, Chin. Keep up the good fight. Fight the good fight, man. Don't let them win. Don't let them beat you. Do what you have to win. Make sure you've got the high ground. You've got a defensible position. Make sure you've got a plan. Make sure you have your allies selected. Know who your enemies are. You are on the front lines right now. People in Aurora, Colorado, either are on or near the front lines. People in Eagles Pass, like Chin Music, in or on the front line. It's danger time. Serious danger time. Village Idiot says, quote, just because you live next door to me doesn't give you permission to walk into my house and shit in my kitchen sink. There you have it. Thank you, Village Idiot. What is he talking about? Mexico. Mexico lives next door. Other neighboring nations, just because you live there, you don't get to walk into our property, our country. You don't get to trespass. You don't get to commit a crime, illegal entry, breaking and entering, and then shit in my kitchen sink. Right? You don't get to come here and steal all of our stuff. Well, Biden let us in. Oh, so if my door is open, then you can just walk in. The fact that it's not locked means you can come in anytime you want and help yourself. That's what these illegals are doing. And fuck Kamala Harris. The top policeman, the border czar, says you can do just that. Welcome in. Shit anywhere you like. Take whatever you need. Just be sure and vote Kamala. All illegals, vote Kamala Harris, or Trump will send you home. I want to send them home with a fucking limp is what I want to do. They need to take back not just their carcass to where they came from, but they need to take back an injury and say, that shit happened to me because I tried that shit. Americans don't fuck around. Sadly, right now, America is a fuck around and play around state. I would like it to become a fuck around and find out. And that you can't just show up here and treat people like shit and fuck them over. What happened to law and order, folks? What happened to it? What happened to law and order in America, our country? The Democrats are not enforcing the law. The Democrats are making up rules as they go. The Democrats are prosecuting people for non-crimes. And the Democrats are allowing criminals, violent criminals, to leave. Same thing's happening in England, Germany, Spain, France. Half the countries in Europe have surrendered to Islam and Sharia law. You've got to be out of your fucking mind if you think that I am going to do that. I hope you've got the same attitude, because if you don't, you're as good as dead. And let's just say, no, I'm going to live. I'm going to convert to Islam. I'll be just fine with all of these turban heads running around. So you're going to sell your soul for a chance to suck oxygen, to eat the bugs? Well, you won't have bacon anymore, that's for sure. If government and the radical jihad Joes have their way, you won't be having bacon ever again. Stock up on spam, folks. Stock up on spam. Every last bastard that crosses me is going to get a mouthful of spam that they get to take to the grave. All right. Thank you, Village Idiot. Who else do we have up next? Folks, you toughen the fuck up. Get tough, get hard, because it is coming. Bioxo77 checking in. Says, crazy. A Chinese spy in New York. Not just in New York, but working for Governor Hochul. Kathy Hochul, the Wicked Witch of New York, had a Chinese spy working for her. Amazing how the Democrats are constantly being associated with Chinese spies. Yet they blame Make America Great Again. They blame Trump. They blame you and me. For what? For doing nothing but being free. Meanwhile, let's see, who's associated with China? Well, the NBA, the NFL. Every major corporation out there wants to do business with China, do business in China. So they suck up to China. They do what China wants. Eric Swallowswell was fucking Fang Fang. That was her name, Fang Fang, a Chinese spy. And he's still allowed by Democrats onto the Intelligence Committee. How many of these motherfuckers, folks? I even believe that what's his face? Oh, yeah, I think his name is Mitch Turtles McCuckle. McCuckle, right? His wife is associated with Chinese corporations, and any Chinese corporation, Chinese business is beholden to the Chinese Communist Party. You cannot do business in China and claim you have nothing to do with communism, and it doesn't influence you. Mikey G says, Mitch McCuckle is married to a Chinese spy. Oh, wait, I wonder, is she a registered Chinese spy? A foreign agent, if you will? See, the one working for Governor Hochul was not registered, and that was the mistake. Mark Zuckerberg is married to a Chinese spy, allegedly a spy. Is she a registered agent? Congressman dating Fang Fang. There it is. A pattern here, maybe? Yes. Big business. Rhino Republicans, sellouts. Democrats, sellouts. Corporate leaders, sellouts. For Chinese Poontang and Fang Fang. It is nasty out there, folks. Foreign interference, communism, fascism, all of it living in Washington, D.C. When Trump called it a swamp, it wasn't just it wasn't just a light statement. It was a fucking understatement. Thank you, Mikey G, for confirming that Fang Fang was that whore's name. And they've got no problem being whores, folks. Not at all. Okay, Mr. Village Idiot. He says Zark Muckerberg or Zark Kuckerberg is a cork garbler. He's a cork sucker. Yes, he is. Uman says, Village Idiot. Is that a postgraduate degree after you get your bachelor's on cork soaking? I tell you, folks, well, as long as it's a feminine cork, it's just fine. They want you to believe it is not homosexual. Understand this, that trans men, if you want to date one and have sex with one, it's not homosexual behavior. Sucking a girl's cork. No, girls don't have those. I love it because it's right there for all of us, folks. The movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger right? Does everyone remember Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yeah, screw your freedoms. Well, screw you, Arnold. He did a movie called Kindergarten Cop. One of the best lines for the whole movie is not just, who is your daddy and what does he do? Right? The next most famous thing is a little kindergartner who says, boys have penises, girls have vaginas. Even kindergartners know, except now, Hollywood, Hollyweird, the government all believe that, well, minor children down to the age of, well, even age 1 day old can decide and choose what gender they're going to be. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. Couldn't China have solved the problem where they didn't want more females, right? You're only allowed to have one child, and people who wanted to have a male baby, well, they would abort their female daughters. Just outrageous. Why don't they just say, hey, it's not a girl, it's a boy. It identifies as a boy. So therefore, right, don't kill my child. Just what planet are we on? Where did logic, reason, moral decency go? Right out the fucking window. Right out the gate. Well, I say we close the gate and shut the window so that we don't have to see or hear these people anymore. The time's going to come, folks. A purge is coming. In fact, I'm going to call for the purge. We need to purge this nation of illegals. We need to purge this nation of traitors. People who have committed the most egregious crimes. The most egregious crime. And the best remedy for that crime is either execution, expulsion, period. Expulsion and execution. Exile, if you will. If you don't like expulsion, exile. Get the fuck out of the country, never to return. Hey, locked doors make for safe neighborhoods. Easier to trust my neighbors when we all lock our doors. All right, Mr. Uman, who is up next? What do we want to discuss? And it's Diving Frog, and he says, John, I'm hearing some rumblings on the digital ID bullshit again. I don't think it'll go anywhere, but the way the pussies in this country act and think, they'll get their way. Not if you and I and all of us raise our voices and say, no, we're not doing it. No digital ID. But they're going to push it, folks. They're going to try and digitize everyone. Right? The central bank digital currency. They want that, the CBDC. They're demanding absolute and total control over your life. We need a currency, folks, that is independent of government. That's what gold and silver was. It was independent of government. You owned it. Right? People didn't trust banks with good fucking reason in the 1930s because banks closed. They confiscated everyone's safety deposit box, all their deposits, all their gold, all their silver, all their paper currency. They just fucking stole it. Why would you trust a bank? Well, I have too much. I have too much money to keep at home. Well, let's see now. 1 gold ounce. Well, this is 1 silver ounce. Right? Everyone loves this. Silver ounce. And that is a Marine Corps emblem on there. 1 gold ounce, folks, is worth, right now, it'll cost you about $2,600 to buy. $2,600. If you've got, I don't know, $20,000 in cash, if you were to buy 8 ounces of gold, it would fit in the palm of your hand, and you could hide that very easily. Bury it, hide it, store it, whatever words you want to use. You don't have to trust the banks, but they want you to, and they'll keep pushing it. The only way to win, folks, is to say no. You say no with your mouth after you say no in your mind. You say no to the banks after you say no in your mind. You say no to the stores after you say no in your mind. Take your power away from them so they can't control you. All right, folks, I do the best I can to do just that. I only have this much money anyway, so this much money is all that I have that stays in the bank. The other wealth I have, well, precious metals like copper and brass, lead, and cold blue steel. All right, let us continue. Mr. Uman, we got less than 5 minutes. And Uman says, I was surprised to hear this morning that the potato, Joe Biden, and the cackler, Kamala, condemned anti-Israel protests, and they condemned the support of Hamas, Palestinian terrorism. Why would they do that this close before the November 5th election? Let me tell you why. I've got my opinion, Uman, and that is they are losing support in America. Most Americans, and even half the Democrats, don't agree that, oh, you son of a bitch. I find it simply stunning that every time I start a very important news bit, like Uman's question here, that I get kicked off of the internet. How the fuck does that happen? All right. So I was saying that they're losing votes. They're losing support. The Jewish communities, they're tired of hearing this. So the Democrats are losing Jewish support. Democrats don't all agree that Jews need to die. Democrats don't all support terrorism. A lot of Democrats are just in it to kill babies. A lot of Democrats are in it just to get free stuff. They just want to be on welfare. That's why they're Democrats. A lot of Democrats are in it just to be gay. Well, I'm gay, so I may as well be a Democrat. Right? So yeah, they're losing support. They're losing it fast. They're losing the Black American support. They're losing Hispanic support. They're losing Asian support. They're losing even the white support. They're losing fruitcakes. There's a lot of fruitcakes and homosexuals out there, folks, that aren't completely retarded. A lot of them are, I'll tell you that. Anyone who wants to, yeah, never mind. I won't go there any further than I have to. But I'll tell you what, Uman, that's my opinion, is that just before the election, they've changed their heart. They very quietly condemned Hamas. They very quietly decided they would be pro-Israel. They don't want to be too loud, because I'll tell you what, the pro-Palestinian, pro-terrorist, pro-murderous supporters in America have said that Kamala has blood on her hands, Biden has blood on his hands, the Democrats have blood on their hands. If they believe that shit, these hardcore anti-American, pro-terror groups and supporters, they're not really in it for the politics. They're in it for the violence. They like violence. They want violence. They believe in violence. And they hate life. They hate Americans. They hate freedom. They hate liberty. And they want to destroy. Period. That's what they're all about. Kamala Harris, by the way, is continuing to pay people to show up at her rallies and bust them in to follow her entourage, to go to her rallies, to make her look and sound important. Trump has people waiting for hours and even days to get into his rallies. There is no fucking way in hell that she has enough support to win. She has never won a serious election. She's always been provided the way in. Here you go. You get to be the Attorney General of California. Here you go. You get to be the Senator for California. Here you go. You get to be the VP for California. She's never been popular, folks. She's never stood on her own feet and used her own intellect, because she doesn't have her own intellect, and she doesn't stand on her feet. She stands on her knees. Just ask Willie Brown. Or better yet, ask Willie Brown's wife. Folks, prostitutes are prostitutes, whether they're selling sex or selling your rights and giving your money away. They're prostitutes. Chance favors the prepared mind. Are you tired of being lied to? Then do something about it and get out there and make a difference. Call your political leaders. Get involved in this election process at your local voting district. Do it, folks. It is time to fight, fight, and fight, or we're going to go down. I would rather stand together and fight than to be picked off one by one and forced to serve. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. And aren't you glad you're a prepper?